All right, after this performance, I think it's time we forgive Robert Pattinson for the Twilight movies. What is going on, you guys? My name is Ben James, and welcome to my non-spoiler review of the Batman 2022, directed by Matt Reeves. If you're new to my channel, the way we rate films is a little bit different over here. I break each film down to 5 categories, and I rate all of those categories from 1 out of 5. And then we tally up all of those scores at the end for a total score of 1 out of 10. So with that being explained, let's hop right into this review. So the Batman 2022 focuses on the back and forth between the Bat and the Riddler. And the Riddler is the first major villain Batman has had to deal with in this universe. Now, this movie skips the origin story and starts us off with the Batman 2 years deep into his vigilante career. He has a working relationship with James Gordon, a detective, and a reputation among the criminals of Gotham. Now, Robert Pattinson offers a version of the Batman that we have never seen before on screen, and I'm absolutely in love with it. His Bruce Wayne is an outsider, never really showing himself to the citizens of Gotham, while his Batman is a brutal fighter, a master detective, and a master of stealth. He is by far the closest thing we have ever gotten to a comic book version of the Batman on the big screen. He even has small moments of compassion that just hit really different with his version than the Christian Bale version or even the Ben Affleck version. My only complaint would be his Batman voice. It's kind of just his normal voice, and it took some getting used to. But as the film went on, it didn't bother me as much, and especially since his version of Bruce Wayne doesn't talk that often. But if there's one thing we need to take away from this movie, it's that Robert Pattinson was the right choice for this role. Now, Detective James Gordon, played by Jeffrey Wright, offered such great chemistry with this version of the Batman, and you felt like there was a mutual respect there. My only complaint is that James was a little too reliant on Batman. He never really had opportunities to show his detective skills, which I feel like that would have been great to explain why he would become commissioner later on. But there's still time to develop that character since they're already talking about making the sequel. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman and Colin Farrell as the Penguin are some of my favorite adaptations of these characters now. No offense to Anne Hathaway, but the cat and the bat relationship in this film is the best we've ever seen it. Their relationship felt organic and satisfying. You have Catwoman, who's a thief, and you got the Bat, who is a seeker of vengeance, and it just meshed so well. Now, the Penguin is played as a bit of the comic relief, but man, do the jokes hit. My theater laughed at every witty remark or comedic line that the Penguin threw out, and if you told me this was Colin Farrell, I would not have guessed it, because this man looks completely different. One character I wish we had a little bit more of was Andy Serkis' Alfred. He is in the film a reasonable amount, but I just wanted to see more of this take of a younger Alfred and maybe fleshed out his character a bit more. But I can't talk about this cast without talking about the Riddler, played by Paul Dano. This man just knows how to play a villain, and he had me feeling like this was a horror movie at times. And when I heard that the Riddler was going to be the main villain of this film, I couldn't imagine a 3-hour film that was going to be able to keep my attention with him as the antagonist. But they did it. He's always one step ahead, and he knows it. But what I like is that he has a respect for Batman and treats him more of a mutual instead of a foe. And his motive in this movie is reasonable and on point and has you thinking, well, is he truly in the wrong? And I love it when they give a villain some depth instead of just making this dude purely evil. And I gotta say, I didn't know what to expect going into this movie, but I need to say thank you to Matt Reeves for not making this another Batman origin story. This movie does not hold your hand, and just like any other crime mystery, it is important to pay attention. And yes, you heard me correctly. This is no regular Batman movie. This is a crime mystery movie featuring Batman. One of the first opening scenes has the Bat at a crime scene looking for clues about this murder. And where previous Batmans have relied on their tech to kind of be the detective, it makes it very clear that Batman is smart and is good at deductive reasoning without his gadgets. And that doesn't mean he doesn't have gadgets, because he does. And in this universe, they're a little bit more realistic and make more sense to this modern version of Gotham. And I think over time, these gadgets will evolve and become a little bit more high tech, or what we've seen in previous films. And these newer gadgets used in the film were really awesome. And there was never a point where I'm just like, hey, why don't you use that gadget that you used previously? Did you forget about it? They did a good job of keeping it consistent. And they make you feel like this Batman's just a highly trained dude with the right tools, instead of making him feel like this supernatural being like in all the other films he's been in. You see him carrying around a duffel bag with the bat suit in it because, yeah, wait a minute, he can't just change it to the Batman suit whenever he wants. Like, he has to have it on him. And in other films, we've just kind of had to put our disbelief aside and just be like, yeah, I guess he can just suit up whenever and be whenever, you know, because he's Batman. But it was such a nice little addition to have in this film. And Gotham and its crime syndicates feel realistic, and it explains why Gotham is the way it is. The introduction of characters and the overall progression of the story feels organic, and you truly feel like Batman's doing everything he can to stop this murderer. My only caveat would be have a few flashbacks to kind of show who each mafia guy is, because there was a couple of times where they were saying names and I thought one dude was another dude, but then later on they mentioned both of them in a sentence and I was like, wait, what? Those are two different people? And that might just be a personal thing, but it was jarring, and I think other people might have that complaint as well. And with this being a mystery film, I think it's very important to establish identities with all of these characters. And although this film doesn't drag, I do think it can be 15 to 20 minutes shorter. As a Batman fan, I enjoyed the length, but I think normal moviegoers might get bored at times. But again, this is more of a caveat just on any films that go over 2 hours and 30 minutes. But just like the Burton films did, this film gives Gotham its own identity and makes it its own character. Having some of the modern day features, but also some of the Gothic architecture, it gives it this eerie feeling. Now, the movie is a bit dark, but it never gives you the feeling like you don't know what's going on. And because of the darkness, it gives you some amazing scenes of Batman emerging out of that darkness. Whether it's the club or a rally or just block to block, the city feels alive. And with Craig Fraser being the cinematographer on this film, that makes a whole lot of sense since his previous work was on Dune, where he made sand be interesting. Overall, the set piece felt organic and every place we visited fit the theme of the overall city. But what is a Batman movie without a new Batman theme? And when I tell you, when this theme came on, you knew shit was going down. One of my favorite parts the theme is used, it's actually in the trailer, so no spoilers, is when Batman is approaching the Penguin after he just flipped his car, and you can just sense the fear take over the Penguin. And I think that's what this theme's purpose is. The music combined with the pacing of this film made you wonder how this 3-hour movie went by so quickly. And usually I can tell when there's a good point in the movie to go to the bathroom with like certain edits or when the music dies down. But I'm telling you right now, go before this movie starts, because there is no point you can leave. You're not going to want to miss out on a single part of this film. Overall, The Batman was the best start of a potential saga I have ever seen. It introduces the character without feeling like an origin story. The cast does a great job of bringing these legendary characters back on screen, but making them feel new. It's so nice to have Batman back and representing these DC stories and bringing some respect back to the DC name. This film just made me so happy, and I can't wait to go see it again and pick up on things I missed the first time. But with all of these scores tallied up, I give Batman 2022 a 9.9 out of 10. The best score on the channel, baby! I think this is a great stepping stone for DC, and it's going to win a lot of fans back, but please, DC, do not ruin this opportunity. But I'm curious to hear what you guys thought. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you think this is a top tier Batman film? Let me know in the comments below. And also, if you haven't already, make sure to like the video and subscribe, because we got reviews, reactions, and more on this channel. I upload to YouTube 3 to 4 times a week and TikTok every day, so make sure to follow me so you don't miss out on any more movie content. But that is going to be it for me today. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you movie lovers later. Peace!